Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Plantish. Let's talk about it. This week makes our sixth episode since we started October 22nd, but who's counting? And we're excited that you're here with us. Please let us know where you're tapping in from. Chef Sesabek, my co-host, is joining us momentarily. Thrilled for this episode that we have will be joining and welcoming Asha Wheeldon, the CEO and founder of Kula Foods, which is an Afro-Caribbean-inspired plant-based foods brand. And she has a lot to share with us. So we're thrilled to have her. And we will see Chef coming in. I've invited you in, Chef. Yes, yes. Let's see how Instagram wants to play today. It is 2 days before Thanksgiving, giving thanks for all we have and how far we've come this year. So I'm thrilled to hear everybody. Hi, you're calling in. Thank you. Tapping in from New York. Creative Vera. It's so good to have you here. Let's see. And no chef is coming. Yeah, it says unable, but I know you, Instagram. You be playing with us, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to come back, do it again, and we'll get started. I am in rain weather, so I am in sweater weather. Excited to be here. I knew you were coming, Chef. You just like, look at that shirt. I love your colors.
Thank you. How
How's it
are you?
going?
Happy Tuesday. I'm good. How are you, Chef?
Happy Taco Tuesday to you.
You know, it's my
We
favorite day
planned this.
of the week. Absolutely.
We planned this Taco Tuesday because I have something surely to look for. And I was just sharing that Asha Wheeldon, the founder and CEO of Kula Foods, is going to be joining us. So, how has your week been so far? Well, it's just Tuesday. Why do I feel like we're so much further in the week than we are?
I mean, I feel like since the time has fallen back, the days go by quicker
Oh,
and
yeah.
into each other. So definitely, I mean, it's technically Friday already. So I mean, hey, the week
Oh,
is
well,
going
thank
well.
you.
Yeah, and looking forward to spending some time with family later on this week. So yeah, how is
Okay.
your week going so far?
It's going good. I have to remember that Thursday is Thanksgiving, giving thanks.
Yeah.
Bam, tap in and tell us what you're planning to have for your day on Thursday and what you're doing. I love everybody joining us. Thank you for coming in. I'm trying to wave at everybody. This thing moves fast, but we see you. And if you have any questions as we get talking, please drop them in the question box, or I'll literally watch out for them as much as I can, but I know we get into the conversation as I know you can understand, and it's good gets going. I am going to be lying low because I've been doing a lot of cooking, ahead of time, but I have gotten some things I want to eat. So please tell us your favorite food for Thursday, and we'll check that out. And then just share any questions you have as we get going. I was thinking about our episode today, and I was thinking back to that other platform we used to be on, CH, when we were doing our rooms. And, we're traveling like to East Africa,
Yeah.
right? With Kula, as you'll come to see. But remember when we had Chef Kola Kagoro come on, and she was the first chef that worked with the Ashinga Rangers, and Ashinga means brave ones,
Yeah.
and it's an all-female anti-poaching unit. There's about 200 of them, and by 2025, they're trying to get to 1,000. But these women are out there doing it, and they're all vegan. I mean, it makes sense
Hmm.
if you're a part of anti-poaching, environmentalist and conserv say it conservationist. Whoa, I can't get that out of my mouth. Conservationist. Why would you want to be anything but vegan? So it's on Netflix. Netflix. I got marbles in my mouth this morning, and I'm gonna spit them out here. Not in front of you though, but check it out. It is such an inspiring story. And these women have to, like, go away from their families. And it's like I think it's 6 months program that they go to or go through. But since 2017, it may be updated at this point. They've had 72 arrests with no fires shot. So they're really trained in de-escalating situations. But I don't want to mess with those women. I just do not want to mess with them. So, Chef, I know you've tried some of the Kula foods. What do you have a favorite yet? I know we're going to get into this, but
Oh
what
no,
what do you think?
don't make me choose a favorite. Okay, so this hot sauce right here, since you asked,
Since I
this right here,
asked, yes.
it is amazing. I'm a hot sauce guy. I love hot
Okay.
sauce on everything. This right here is by far the best, top three, and it's definitely not number three.
What does it
And
taste like, or what makes it so good in your book of, now we can do that hot show. I mean, the hot
it's
sauce
just
show.
it's just well rounded. I mean,
Okay.
it's not only is it spicy, but you get
Mhm.
garlic, you get those fresh aromatics in it, and I'm like, ah, yes. So let's take a look at the ingredient list, shall we? Okay.
Yes, please.
So we have some water, some tomato paste, apple cider vinegar, garlic, lemon juice, olive oil, chili peppers, grape puree, chipotle peppers, and sea salt. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about Kula Foods is that you can pronounce literally everything in the ingredient list. You don't
Yes.
have to worry about all those preservatives. It's really clean, and I've been really appreciating that. Same with their meat substitutes
Oh, yeah.
or yeah, same thing.
I've got the
Filtered
chicken.
water. You have it too?
I have the chicken protein.
Ah,
It's pretty good. I
it's
like it. I'm
so
going to
good.
try the goat next.
Yeah,
It's plant-based. Let's keep saying that.
definitely plant-based, all 100% vegan for sure. And I actually had that one on Sunday. I was coming home and I had a busy day, and I'm like, okay, do I really want to have dinner? Because it was like around 8 o'clock, and I'm like, I can whip up something in 10 minutes. So I looked in my freezer and I saw that, and I'm like, ooh, let's pull that out. I
Yeah.
had two potatoes in my pantry. I had avocado. I had some lettuce. I had what else did I have? Had some vegan sour cream. So I just put together a little bowl, and I'm like, okay, it'll make do. And I tasted it like once I put everything together, and I was like, whoa, like I'm gonna have to make this again as
Yeah.
like a meal because you just come home and you're just throwing things in a bowl, and it's like, okay, that's dinner. But no, that was really good, and I actually topped it with this hot sauce right here.
Okay.
And you talk about a party on your palate. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, it was just incredible. And they actually have another barbecue sauce that they sent
Mhm.
because to my knowledge, they're launching a couple sauces soon, right?
More. I think they're adding to their line extension of products,
Right.
which is very exciting. So
Yeah.
we'll have to confirm that with Asha because
Absolutely.
sometimes you've got things coming and they can be held up, especially this time of year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So they sent some barbecue sauce, and I used it. No, was it a barbecue sauce? I think it was like a tomato marinade or something.
Okay.
I used it in a pasta, a gluten-free pasta, and like I said, it was another one of those meals where I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna throw something together, and it turned out like, oh yeah, no, this is something that you need to write down. It's good. So
I
yeah,
love
I'm
that.
just super excited to speak with Asha and Kula Foods today, so that we can just get a deeper insight to what they're doing out here in the
Yeah.
streets.
She's in Canada. So I'm excited for her to come to the States because if you're in Toronto, you can find her in Whole Foods. So I'm assuming that once it comes to the States, we'll be able to get it, because Whole Foods. Otherwise, we can go and demand it. That's the thing I love about Whole Foods.
Yeah,
Usually when I go in and ask them for something, if they don't know, they're really interested in finding out. They'll look at it if it's a
yeah.
fit for their market, but there are Whole Foods everywhere. Chef, this is our 6th episode. Did you realize that since we started this series of Plantish? October 22nd, we're already here. So I am so thrilled. What did you think of our episode last week with Daniel
Oh, my-
Stackman and
oh, that was
Uptons.
great. That was absolutely amazing. I just enjoyed his perspective because he's been
Yes,
vegan for over 30 years
over
and in the industry
30.
of food production for the last 20. So, to be like that pioneer, as you mentioned, it was just great to just like have that input, that insight, and just seeing how he has his boots on the ground to this day
Yes.
and still, advocating through delicious food. That was great. What did you think about it?
I loved it because I've been using their products when I looked at it going on 10 years. So I love what we're bringing. If you're new to us and you're like, who are these two on the screen? Chef Sesavec Rando. I'm Nina Curtis. I'm a professional chef, as is Chef Sesavec. And we've been at this a while, but we just, from our clubhouse days, CH days, we just said, let's bring it to Instagram and get the innovators, the founders, the CEOs of many of these brands either we're using, it's already in our pantry or freezer or refrigerator, or we're interested. But in today's economy, I'm like, do I really want to spend my dollars on a product I don't know?
Yeah.
I don't know. And sometimes when I do, I wish I hadn't. But then there are those times when I'm, delightfully surprised. So our whole goal and mission is to invite these brands that are in the plant-based sector. Let's just know that that's how we roll and talk to them and not have this gap. Because how many products have you bought and you don't know? I mean, you may know the corporation, but you're like, someone had to start that.
Yeah.
If you go far enough back, one person typically had to start that. And then with the trajectory that we're seeing in plant-based foods and how many companies and brands are coming out and cellular meat and, precision fermentation. And it's like, what are we eating? So I really always want to know that and want to get on board and talk to these people so we all have an opportunity to do so. And I know Asha is joining us momentarily because I see her with us. So we've invited you, and there she is, the beautiful Asha. Welcome.
Wow.
Hi, Chef. Hi, Chef Nina. Chef, how
Hi.
are you?
Good.
I have been excited for this conversation for some time. So thank you so much for the invite.
No, it's a pleasure to have you. How are your children? I mean, let's do mommy duty first. Let's get
Oh,
things
yes.
taken care of. Is everybody okay?
Everyone's in school.
Okay.
So, the morning drop-offs are often, it's a shuffle. So we've had our shuffle. Oh,
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. Well, welcome. Let us just have you take a breath because I know that I
Ooh,
don't know that morning
ooh,
more
yes.
mommy
Oh
duty,
my,
but I know what it's about.
yes.
And it's exciting to have you here. You're our sixth episode. We were speaking about, Chef and I were talking about our experience so far with your foods. And I would just love for you kind of to set the table, as we like to say, and give us a little insight to how you got to where you are today, like cliff notes.
Yeah.
But let's set the table and then we'll get into more conversation. And we really invite everybody that's joining us live to, present your questions, to ask Asha what you are curious. She may say something. And let me just say this again. Asha Wheeldon is the founder and CEO of Kula Foods, which is an Afro-Caribbean-inspired plant-based foods brand. And we know we're pressuring her to come to the States. We want this product. So Asha, go ahead and share just some of the, highlights of, did you think you'd be here today like this?
Yeah, I'm originally from Kenya. I was born in Nairobi. I grew up in a very small town, and so food has always been informed. We grew crops, we shared them, we cooked together. So that was a regular thing. And I moved to Toronto in when I was 11 years old. So imagining the culture shock. But essentially, food has always been a part of, the way I connect to folks. And in Toronto, I got introduced to so many global foods, both Caribbean, Indian cuisine, Middle Eastern, which have become like my staple in my home. And so 2015, I found myself in Vancouver. My background is in tech and human service counseling. And so that's my specialty. At that time, I was working for a telecom company here in Canada and moved to Vancouver. And one of the first things I did was where do I get my seasoning? How am I going to eat my food? Right? Where do I eat? And specifically, I was looking for, inspired African Caribbean cuisine and restaurants. And I really did have some challenges identifying that in grocery stores, at farmers markets, typically where I would find my food. And at the same time, I was also transitioning diet choices for health reasons at that time. And so there was definitely a host of challenges that came up. And just fast forward, a couple of years later, I started meeting folks who were in the industry, both in food, and were offering plant-based options, and got inspired to actually create these opportunities here in Canada. For anyone that has not been in Vancouver, the landscape is diverse, but the missing pieces are, I think Black populations and food of African diaspora is not necessarily seen normalized in the food space. And so, yeah, kind of just like rolled up my sleeves. And I was also a new mom. So a lot of life transitions that were happening at that time. And we just tasted the market, introduced meals, introduced packaged stews, things that I knew, right? Like our staple curries and stews and sauces. These are items that I think a lot of people can relate to, but really does connect deeply into the African roots. And a lot of great feedback. And just like long story short, the inspiration really is around how do you bring communities together, and what role does food play into it? And so that's really what Kula is all about. It means eat. So the message is, let's Kula together. That's what we often share. And for the longest while, how we started were through events and, getting connected and getting really, for myself, it was the way I learned the landscape of where I was and what I now call home. So yeah, that's a bit of how, Kula initiated. And now we offer alternatives, using peas. We use Canadian manufactured peas. We've evolved to the point where, it is plant-based, but also nutrition. It's also access. It's also versatility and simplicity. And I think those are some of the ways that we can kind of involve community in growing, the focus around plant-based in the future. So it's creating that inclusivity is our focus. I can go on and on, so you gotta stop me. But that's Kula.
And we love that. We love that, and we love for you going on and on. You've said so many things that are registering in my head. And we met in 2023 in Los Angeles at a food festival. So, you're walking around, and I just gravitated to you because I just knew that the food would be spiced right. And we had a wonderful conversation, and we haven't stopped since then. So with this series, I was like, oh, I know you're busy. All of these founders, guys, are busy like we all are. So for them to make the time to join us and speak to the community, which I love so much about Asha's mission, it's community sound and it's community based. And why are calls coming in when I've shut them off? I don't know. People stop calling me when I'm busy. We've got people, I just want to thank everybody that's coming in. Oh, wow. We've got people from India coming in and love Vancouver. We got love for you, Asha. Somebody said mac and cheese on Thursday. Okay, let's not talk about who makes the best mac and cheese. We're going to roll right back there. But enjoy your mac and cheese, because that will be another conversation. I just want to catch up. Okay, I think I've got everybody. So based on what I know about you, Asha, and our conversations, and community-based. Tell us a little bit how you've tied that into the mission of Kula. How have you taken your cultural You know, I listened to an interview you did, and you were talking about on the plane, and they served you,
Oh,
it was a sandwich or something, and you were like, what is this?
wow.
And so, how do you take that cultural aspect and your traditions that I know that I want you shared with me? I want the audience to hear this because I think it is a testament to so often people are like, well, I can't go plant-based. Welcome from Oakland. I can't go vegan because my grandmother made this and we've got to uphold tradition. But the fact of the matter is, so much, if we go back, if we say to the motherland, right? People really need to know what we were eating before our ancestors were brought over here. And so much of, like you said, the Western world, and you had to find, where are my spices? And it's another testament to, as long as my spices are in my bag, I can make anything. And no one eats a poached chicken breast plain unless you're bodybuilding and you're on some kind of weird diet to, do what you need to do. That's just not happening. So speak to that testament of culturally how you've infused that in your mission and traditional things. And yeah, I'll let you take it away.
Absolutely. You found the archives of interviews,
I
which
dig
is
deep. Chef will tell you, I will come up
wow.
with stuff. But I'm also very conscientious of what I want to say I
Right.
found. It's all good.
That's right. Okay, good. That was a really unique moment because it was a moment of self-reflection, in terms of where I come from, and just again, I loved what you said about that connection to, when we look back at what our ancestors were eating as we looked forward. It is based on plant-based, depending on where you're coming from. And so for myself, we really relied on a lot of vegetables, green vegetables, collard greens. We call it sukuma.
Okay.
So that's the term. And collard greens, corn are some of our staples, beans. That's our regular daily food. There's a particular dish, which I'm sure I'll dive into later. It's called ugali and sukuma wiki. If folks have had fufu, it's, the East African version using corn-based, cornmeal, literally corn, salt, oil, water. That's the cornmeal, the ugali, and then the sukuma wiki is collard greens, sauteed vegetables in many variations, or cabbage, whatever you have accessible to. And so access is the number one thing that I can speak to. Is I had access to plant-based food, and I ate that on a daily basis. Eating meat was a very occasional item. It was, if someone was getting married, if there was some sort of celebration in the community that would come up, meat may come forward. Cheese was definitely not, cheese. So I had no idea what cheese was. It wasn't something that I ate until the age of 11.
Wow.
And so I'm in Amsterdam on my way to Toronto, a kid that barely understood. I didn't actually speak English much then. And my brother and I were traveling together, and he gives me this cheese that the flight crew was sharing, and I just stared at it, and it was just like plastic wrappings of something yellow, and I'm supposed to eat this, and so that was quite bizarre. And even going further back, it's packaged goods, like packaged foods is not something that I was familiar with, and so yeah, I found that whole thing quite an experience. And so, in thinking about Kula, it is being able to say, yeah, you can actually have delicious natural foods, and it doesn't necessarily need to have so many ingredients. One of the feedback that I get, a lot of the consumers that purchase our products and our customers are not necessarily vegans. They're looking for food that they can eat every day, that's delicious. They want something different as well, that they may not be able to make from scratch or don't have the time to do that. And so we create those options, but the feedback is that they love the few ingredients that's in the food. And so we really hone in on that more. Because access is so much. So access may not necessarily just be going to the shelf and having products available on shelf. It's understanding what I'm eating. It's understanding it, where the ingredients come from. A bit of that story that keeps it at ease. And I'm one of those people. I look at the back and I'm like, what is this? How is this going to make me feel? Could my kids eat it? Like, so I have to think of children. So there's so much to think about, you know, as a producer. And so we are really all about that. It's like demystifying that you need to have, you know, 25 ingredients to enjoy, you know, maybe like, you know, chicken texture, but a different taste. It doesn't have to be extensive. It doesn't have to be confusing. It can be accessible, and plant-based food is accessible, and it is very delicious. So that's our mission. It's, you know, make it accessible. So when I launched in 2018, I had four pillars. Accessibility was the top. Accessibility, sustainability, and then internally, just like access to flexible work, and community.
Yeah.
Those are the main points that we needed, and we had to we actually dived into what accessibility meant. I am a nerd when it comes to marketing and understanding and shifting like thoughts, like taking a message, does it relate? And we spent so much time around accessibility, and it wasn't just about getting access to a food, it was understanding what you're eating. And so we've, like, the past 6 years have been a lot of communication, a lot of education, being at the market, like, you know, meeting at the fest in LA, that was such an incredible day. And you just get so much feedback right in front of you, right? And most people are just saying that. They're like, make it accessible and delicious. I'm there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I know we cook, and it's like a no-brainer. My dad's a chef at 8. I swore I'd never be a chef because I couldn't wash the onion smell off my hands, and the kids were like, what is that smell? You know, so
Yeah.
you have these ideas, but never say never. That's what we learn. But again, the community that you talk about, and I want to ask you, because I've had the opportunity to be in your presence. You know, my grandmother used to say, don't come in my kitchen mad, don't stir any of my pots if you're angry. You know, the first ingredient I put in my food, my grandmother saying, is love. And she was serious about that. And so, you know, I just got that, and it may sound, people are like, oh, love, the first ingredient. I mean, that I think should be on brands. Somebody put it on there, because people are going to take note. I want to, when someone trusts me to cook for them, I take that as a huge responsibility, that you don't know who's in the kitchen. And we go into these places and trust that their ethics and their, you know, consciousness and everything else is maybe where we're aligned, because food, especially plant-based, is living food. We get life from life, not from death. So tell me, how do you tap in? Because I've been in your presence, so I'm going to ask you this question that I don't even ask a lot of people. I mean, it's nothing against that, but how do you tap into source? And do you get, like, you've done your market research and all, but sometimes do you just wake up or in the middle of the night and go, that's what I need to do next? Because maybe the ancestors have tapped and remind you. You know, many of us are saying, well, we just keep pouring until the ancestors say stop. Hey, okay.
That's right. That's right.
But does that work for you?
I was not a recipe developer. I didn't learn by, you know, ingredients. My mother didn't write recipes down. It was a lot of observations and intuition. So I'm a very intuitive person, just based off of the way I've lived. And so I really do tap into that mostly. I actually, if we want to go, I mean, we're opening this up. This is where I live.
We want to hear your story. So please, let's open the portal.
Okay, I had a dream. I actually had an actual dream, vivid dream, that I woke up around, like eating meat that came from a grain, and it was really bizarre because I was, you know, I've tried everything, and I think as I transition as a vegan, you know, I've went from like the things that I was really familiar with, legumes, you know, like lentils, beans. These are, I have so many in my home. That's what I lean to. And then, you know, further as I explored options, burger options, hot dogs, I have definitely explored that. But I never considered the idea of creating meat alternative options. And so I remember this was a couple of years ago, maybe 4 years ago, and woke up from a dream which had me creating meat. And it was one that took me a couple of weeks. I had to sit on that for a while, and it didn't make sense. So I thoroughly believe that there are messages that come to us, and whichever way you take it, it does filter through, and our ancestors do direct us there. When it comes to the kitchen, I believe energy is a big thing. You are creating something that will be consumed and digested, and it moves through our bodies. And so I think a lot about that. I know my energy when I'm cooking, if I'm at my highest vibration or my lowest. The end result is going to be different. You know, I remember trying to recreate my mother's stew. You know, she's a master in the kitchen. You know, she doesn't cook as much as she does. She's actually visiting me right now from Toronto. But I just remember, you know, her abilities to create something, and there's consistency, but there's always a different shift every time we had the stew, and I tried to recreate that. And I till this day, I cannot, you know, I've like decided that's not going to happen. But she really grained in us around energy, like firstly, setting the tone in your kitchen, you know, how does it feel? You know, cleaning, she says this, you haven't cooked until you've left your kitchen clean before you sit down and eat. You know, you have removed. So if it's all cluttered, you haven't cooked anything, right? So there are these lessons that you're not going to learn at a culinary school necessarily in terms of what that means, because that energy, when you sit down and eat, there's ease, the fact that everything is cleared and you have removed, you know, certain obstacles that can come up afterwards. It really sets the tone. And so for myself, music, I love music, I love sound. And so listening to music while I'm cooking really helps. And it just the enjoyment comes forward more. I love cooking with others as well, but there's also moments that I like to just take that time to myself as well. And so that reflects back to the way Kula has been formulated as well, the way we come up with ingredients. And you know, it's a whole process. You know, it's not necessarily just pen to paper. It is going out to the field, going to farmers markets, seeing ingredients that I have not experienced. You know, the way we actually came up with the plant-based proteins was just that, like going into some of, you know, Asian groceries and seeing what has been in the market, and really studying and playing around in the kitchen. So yeah, energy translates. Actually, even who you sit down and eat with also, you know, translates to how you digest the food. It has been proven, it's been studied. The way you feel energetically and when you eat also changes the way you digest your foods as well. So I think I wish we can talk more about that. That is a thing. It's not just like the item in front of you, it's the process, right? And it's your intuition, it's your intentions. And so I love cooking for folks one-on-one. That's where my passion is. And I love not using recipes because it allows for that creativity and like being in that moment when creating.
I love that.
Yeah.
Chef, I know just based on your nods, you are tapping in because I know you tap in. But Chef, can you share with us some of the comments that are coming through in the chat? Because so many are coming that are, you know, in agreement. So can you share some of those and then tap in, Chef, with where you're coming from with what Asha just said?
Absolutely. So we're getting a lot of feedback here with you know, just people agreeing, like, hey, like, you know, it's energy, it's the love that we put into our food that makes it good. So yeah, art of yeah, bliss is live. Yeah, we have a lot of love in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. Oh my goodness, I'm just over here soaking up everything that you just said, Asha. Your journey, your story is just so incredible. And as you were explaining it, I could see it, like you on the plane at that age, and you know your brother handing you the cheese, and you being like confused, like, well, what is this? I can just see it so vividly. And it's just beautiful to know that, you know, we could be on the other side of the world, but the traditions, like the way of life, can be so similar. Because, you know, one of the things that my grandmother used to teach me in the kitchen at a very young age is like, you know, like you clean as you go, and like you cannot sit down and enjoy your meal until your kitchen is clean. So, you know, just those little stories really resonated with me. And I just have to say, like, you know, I'm sure you've seen, because I've been tagging you in the meals that I've been making. You've been in my rotation heavy, and your products are delicious. I was speaking with Chef Nina in the audience earlier about this hot sauce here, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so well rounded. The flavor profile is so amazing. The ginger beef. That was the very first product that I had from you, and I actually recorded a video of me like reviewing it and everything, and it's going to be posted very soon. And you know, one of the things that I said was I really enjoy how clean your ingredients are and how intentional you are with the packaging, and you know, just the colors, so inviting and so festive and cultural. So just good job. I look forward to seeing these products everywhere because, you know, like you said, you know, plant-based food is accessible, and, you know, we need more of this, definitely. And may you expand far, 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 far,
I
far in
agree.
all of the
Thank
world.
you. Yeah. And we are coming up. California will be our next stop.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm so excited. You're gonna get tired of us.
I am so excited. I'm in California. I'll let you know, Chef, when I get it.
Oh no,
You
I'll be
know,
there too. I'm in California too.
this is true. This is
All
true.
there.
You know, Asha, you're so rooted, and I think we can all feel that. And I would love to have you come back and do a session on the energetic aspects of food because we're all aligned in that. You know, Chef does sound therapy and energy, and I think people would really like that. I mean, you know, it's like Harahachi Boo. It's like be mindful. When are you 80% full? Because we consume, overconsume. And so be mindful when we're eating, when we're 80% full. So I'm going to challenge everybody today on Thursday. Be mindful when you're 80% full and stop, no matter what's on your plate, and let it digest and let, you know, take it in. And we will do another session because we could go, you know, left here on a whole nother thing. But I want to ask you, being so rooted and how you said you like to cook one-on-one and, you know, you take inspiration from source and from ancestors and your mother, your beautiful mother who I've seen. How and when did you wake up and decide, okay, I'm going to do a CPG, a consumer packaged good product in an industry that's really competitive,
Yes,
and often products on the shelf are not rooted as you are.
that's right.
That's just fact. So when and how did you decide I'm going to get in this pool, this sea of waves,
Wild,
and come with the product?
right?
Yeah.
It's a wild. Yeah, it became a demand from our customers.
Mm.
I think it's, you know, when you look at yourself, there's only one of me and a small, you know, team members that can offer that there's nothing like, you know, we all know this, the sit down experience of a hot meal served to you. Yeah. Nothing has ever replaced that, right? But it became a demand for us, you know, through our catering and events. When I say events, we've had cooking experience, live events, we've had long table dining experiences. It really comes alive in February, and that continues. It's been a continuous thing for us with one of my really close friends, Chris, who also has the most delicious, just a little drop for him, the best Jamaican patties. He offers plant options as well. And, you know, that has been my vessel of continuing that aspect as I still offer catering one-on-one. I still love to collaborate and host these events and join events that cannot go away. But we had to sort of like, firstly, we had to listen to our people. They said, how do I, you know, in Toronto, I can't come to Vancouver. How do I access you? How do I, you know, in California, how am I going to get, you know, your food? And while it may not be one-to-one when we are serving in person, we needed to create those options. And I think I love a good challenge, right? And in studies right now, we know that African Americans are the highest consumers of plant-based foods, you know, and with that, there's got to be options. We can't just like ignore that altogether. And so we have to think of spaces that we're regularly purchasing and needing access to food, and grocery is one. And so that's really what's pushed us. It's our like encouragements and requests, and the number one question is always like, how do I get you? I can't come to Vancouver, you know, so how do we do that? And so that's the reasoning. And you know, it's when we are formulating our food is we think about that, you know, for someone who's experienced, you know, at the festival, you've had array of our hot meals. I want to kind of almost replicate that option, because it can't be 100%, but replicate that option where our people can bring it home and have, you know, somewhat of that experience and flavors be brought to home. So we want to join the households. We really want to join our people around the table, and also disrupt, you know, the system where it does not include food of African diaspora. You know, it's less than 1% represented in North America. And so that's unacceptable, we think, and just so much diversity of options that I think should be on there. And yeah, Kula's doing that, you know, along with a few other brands, and I want to see more of it. I can't tell you how excited I am to be launching in the US. This has been a couple of years worth of effort for us to get here, but that's where our folks are, and stay tuned. We have, I think by January, February, we should have landed then.
That's not that far away. It's not that far away. It's really a blink today.
That's right.
You know, you do so much with Kula from a community point, and you speak of, okay, if you can't have me one-on-one, I'm going to give you a taste of Kula where you're at. And I love that intention. Tell us, because I know a little bit, but tell us outside of Kula, like you have family, you have Kula, I would say it's another child, and then you have the work you do. So share with us some of the community and philanthropic work that you do, not just locally, but globally.
Okay. All right. I am such a private person, so I often like forget to talk about the whole other life. I have kids, both are under 8 years old, who are incredible, keep me very busy. And I'm, you know, I'm an immigrant to Canada, and I saw my mom really pave the way for us. And so I have like such a passion for seeing, you know, folks who are able to leave their home and build. And so I work with a nonprofit organization called Flavors of Hope. And so we help women who are new to Canada, who are looking to start their own food businesses. And what's incredible about Flavors of Hope is, you know, it's an incubator program that like no other. It's fully handheld, you know, from finding a space to produce, to, you know, starting with their key products, getting into markets, expansion, being able to sustain their businesses, and marketing, and so much more, and building community. You know, when you are new to a space, you could feel quite isolated. And so some of the ways you know, these women are building is by creating, you know, food, and, you know, using food just like myself to build their communities. And so I spend a lot of my time there. And we are, you know, I actually just came back from South Africa, and I am so excited to see, you know, the continent really get the view that it requires. What we've seen Africa be represented as is like this poor, you know, area that folks are not creating anything, but it's quite advanced both in technology and food. Agriculture has, you know, from where I'm from, Kenya is one of the lead. You can find some incredible, innovative food products, but also just like natural foods. And so I am playing up in that space. I am helping right now with a group called One Girl Can. We have a conference happening next year in September. And really it is to create opportunities for young girls to get education, but further than that, to be able to access work and or start their own businesses. And so very busy, but it's all the things that serves So like I said, food is a vehicle for me to be able to connect folks. And so all of that just sort of embeds into that work. That is my calling. I thought I was going to be a dancer, but I do that for fun.
Yeah.
I love good movement. I incorporate movement into my daily practice. But I think, knowing where I come from, I feel like I'm responsible to be able to use my privilege to be able to, kind of like share a bit. It doesn't mean I'm an expert, but there are some experiences there, and to lend my time on it. So that's the work, some of the work that I do.
So it's a beautiful work, and we will put the replay up. So those that are with us, thank you for hanging in. Thank you if you came in and you had to go. Thank you if you're catching us later, because we get such a high replay exposure from what we've seen in our, statistics of what's going on here, or the stats as they call it. But I think, someone's out there listening that has a dream, and they may not feel they can pursue that dream because they're a mother, they've got family, they've got school, they don't know where the finances are going to come in. Just hearing your story, I think, is an inspiration. And that's also very important to our conversations on Plantish. Let's talk about it. That anyone that is out there listening, realize that Asha is saying you can do anything you want. Because when we decide what we want to do, we don't have to worry about how or when. Just go for it, especially at this time coming to the end of 2024. We don't know what 2025 holds for us, but we can sure lean in with a faith that says, but I can do what I want to do. And it's time for you to take that step. It's time for you to take that step. Most of us that are busy get a lot done. We just do, because you figure it out. So I want to thank the audience for coming in, and those hanging out with us. Those are just coming in. The replay will go up. For the replay audience, we're excited that you'll be watching this, and we hope you get a lot of inspiration. I'm excited for the day where our food, plant-based food, is just another cuisine. It's not called out. Veganism is a lifestyle. That's a different conversation in most cases, because a lot of people can eat plant-based food and you don't have to worry about magically being turned vegan. It's not going to, hijack you and turn you into something you're not. It is food, and that's what we're talking about, but it also comes with the ethics and the principles. So at this point, Asha, tell us, what is the future of plant-based food, and how is Kula positioning itself to be ready or continue to be an innovator and a thought leader and, a disruptor in the food system? I know that's a lot.
Oh, that's a perfect topic. So plant-based food is global food. I think we got to think globally. I just, again, came back from South Africa. I was really impressed by what was on the shelves, what's on the plates. It's no longer, thing that we think of in a small category or area. We have to think about sustainable choices and accessibility. I always will say the accessibility, that is what the solution is. And it is, looking at it in a lens of how do we diversify and give the people what they want. We want all the different options. I want to be able to try not only something I'm familiar with, but access to as much as possible on a global scale. And so that's what it is. Think bigger, think more, beyond just the smaller points. And I think as we do that, we can include, and it really does look at, what are the challenges around food access, on the side where we have food deserts. Plant-based is the answer. And that is just a fact. And so we look at community gardens, implementations of food in schools, education around that will definitely drive us forward. It's not individualistic, it is communal based. It's kind of going back into ancestral practices. It's looking at indigenous peoples around the world and how how land and people and, animals have those relations. Yes. And so we got to simplify that in some ways, and make it easier. Kula is positioned right in it, you know, and so part of, you know, going to South Africa is to explore the roots of Kula on the continent and seeing what the opportunities are. And so I'm really excited for that. You know, I think honing into, for us, we're working on a new product right now that's coming forward, and it's, you know, rethinking seasoning. What's the activation of a seasoning? Because seasoning, if your food is not, firstly, if it's not seasoned, I can't eat it. I won't enjoy it. Soul won't enjoy it. My taste buds, I won't repeat it, right? So I think thinking about the taste, a lot of producers are now really dialing into that more, you know, being able to provide those options. But for us, we're taking it a step further and, you know, taking seasoning and making it more functional and making it, again, more accessible for a different use, but also introducing flavors that you don't necessarily see. And so we continue with that mission. And we're thinking globally, and we're really studying Africa, like specifically Kenya and South Africa right now, in terms of what we can offer, and there's definitely a space for it. So stay tuned.
Yes.
Meantime, you know, over the next year, we are going, like I said, African Americans and African Canadians are consuming more and more plant-based foods. And, you know, the reasoning for that is we need to look at ways that we can eat healing food, you know, live foods for challenges that really has hit our communities. And so we're going there. We're always looking for collaborations as well. While we are a CPG brand, our hearts in, you know, being able to sit around the tables. So
I love that.
Yeah, and future goals for us that we're going after.
I love that. Chef, I think this is one of our most active chat groups. Are there some things you can call out that you see people saying? Because there's so much love for Asha in this chat.
Absolutely.
So much
Thank you. We're getting so much peace, much love, gratitude. Never knock it till you try it. That's so right. Clean eating, keep it simple and grow. Oh, loving this feedback here. Yes, even just adding a little lemon can help it out. Yes, indeed. Yeah, very good. Very good. So we're going to go ahead and flow into our quick fire. I just gotta say, I've just been enjoying this conversation, and I feel like I have like a front row seat, and I'm just over here just soaking everything up. But yes, quick fire. I'm going to have a list of questions for you. You can answer them within 30 seconds or so. And the first one I have for you is, what is one food you could eat every day?
Ugali sukuma wiki. That's the every day.
Say that 10 times fast. Can you say that one more time for us all?
So ugali sukuma wiki. So that's the cornmeal based. If you've had polenta, if you've had fufu, very similar. We use cornmeal, basically cornmeal, salt, oil, water. We have a recipe on our website as well. And then sukuma wiki sukuma refers to collard greens. Collard greens has a long-standing history in our, you know, ancestral culture, and it is a staple in Kenyan cuisine. You can also have cabbage, but it's literally sauteed. You can add anything in there. Some chilies if you want some heat in there. Some, you know, squeeze of, someone said lemon, activate the delicious, easy. I can get that done in 10 minutes, and I'm set. I'm set for life if that's what I have to eat daily.
Sounds so delicious.
These whole notes. I'm like thinking what's in my fridge right now so that I can recreate that.
Some fun facts. Runners know that Kenyans are known for their running. Ugali has been known to be a staple as during their training period of consuming as well. So it's filling, but it's also quite light. To get moving.
Wow. Yeah. So much education in this conversation. Love it. All right. So next question. What's the one spice that always stocked in your pantry?
Barbare. So barbare is Ethiopian spice blend. There's nothing like it. Fight me if you want, but that's my favorite spice, and I've formulated into everything that I cook at home. So it is MVP.
Oh my goodness.
So for those of us who have never heard of that, can you kind of define its character or taste or how it can be so accessible in everything you cook?
It is, it's not too spicy, so there's some chilies in there. There's smokiness. We're thinking spices like cardamom, cloves are in there. Yeah, and so if you've had thinking stews, like, if you're making something like a red stew, Barbare is your go-to. If you like to make like rice palau, that's one. If you've had Ethiopian cuisine and you've had any of the lentils, or if you've had any of the tibs and more, that spice is the essential piece. Every household has their own variation, but cardamom, cloves, in their chilies. There's some smokiness. It is stone ground at its original format. But yeah, I love it. It's if that's run out of my house, I'm not cooking.
We know you're not going to run out of that, and I'm guessing it might be in your spice line offering.
It just might be.
It might be. We're not spilling the tea yet.
Yeah.
Might.
Go ahead.
Go, Chef.
Okay. Next question. What do you do for fun outside of running Kula Foods?
Dance. So dance is one of my first loves. I love dancing. I love African Caribbean dance, salsa, anything that has, the drums, African drumming in it. I'm there. So that's the thing that I love doing. I am I'm a quiet person who loves a quiet moment, but I do love being around my people. So anything that's around it, usually it does involve food. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, if not, I'm yeah.
I love that. Okay. Next question. If you could make a meal for any historical figure, who would it be and why?
Ooh. Oh, that's a tough one. Okay. So if you're watching this, Serena, Serena Williams, I would love to cook for Serena Williams. Actually, the greatest of all time is our curry. The curry goat is inspired by her. The greatest of all time athlete. Love her. I love her energy that she brings on, on the court, and what she does. She has done for Black girls around the world, and in creating, space that we were not allowed to or should not be there. She really defied that. So that is, and I know she loves to eat plant-based food when she's training. So that's the person I would love to cook for.
That's an awesome person to cook for, and we're going to call out in the chat when we put up the replay. Everybody tag Serena so we can make this a reality, because we love that.
Love you. We do love Serena.
We love Serena.
Yeah.
Yes. Love it. So you say that you set the tone when you go into the kitchen. What music are you playing? What's like your favorite artist? Give us a insight into your playlist.
Ooh, it's all over the place, but I am a long-term fan of Usher. Usher will get you moving. Yeah, I mean, you can get your slow jams, but you can also get a little, da 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 da. I can still get that. You make me wanna. That's the energy right there. I love. If it could be anyone, it would be Usher.
Okay, I love that so much. Thank you for that. Thank you for answering these questions and just for sharing your time and energy with us, and for the delicious food and products.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Thank you
if you're still with us, put in the chat if you dance while you're cooking and you're blasting your music, so your neighbors are like, they know you're cooking because you blast the music when you cook. If you dance and blast music while you're cooking, please drop it in the chat so we can see that, so we can find our people.
Yes. And if you love to use wooden spoon and like to talk to the pan, that's enough. You can also make your own music.
Exactly, especially the drumming. So Asha, this has been such a pleasure. We look forward. I'm getting commitment. I want you to say you'll come back, that we have it on tape. All right.
I'm coming back.
Tell us if you have a thought, what do you want people to know most? Because Chef and I are trying to fill the gap of us as consumers, whether it's professional kitchen or our own home kitchen, and then the brand innovators and founders like yourself. You know, a lot of times we said earlier that a lot of times we're buying products and we don't know who really is making it or who's, I mean, you can find that, but we're really identifying founders such as yourself that we can bring on and talk to and let people know about their product, but their mission, their intention, what they think about in bringing product to market, especially when you've said you have demand and so you acted on that. But tell us something you would like everyone to know about Kula, and then I'm going to ask you to tell us, those who haven't yet tried Kula but are interested, because I know we have a very active community. How can we get it? And I know you were going to share something else with the audience in their first try.
That's right. To know about Kula, we are very intentional. And so we are, I never said this, but we are B Corp brand. And this means, you know, there's a reasoning behind everything we do and how, like, we look at the beginning, the middle, and the end. So there's a whole process. Your purchasing power literally affects our, not only directly our team, but it influences, you know, way further. Like, we plant trees in Kenya. So we're not a big company, but there are so many commitments that we've signed on to because we do believe this is a communal experience. And so think with your dollars and, you know, think about what you're consuming, but also think about the impacts, whether it's from Kula or any other brand, is what I would say. So yeah, your support goes a long way, and we actually really need it, because when we're selling into spaces like grocery, it's all about volume. It's all about how quickly a product can move. And so if there's no demand for it, it often does not stay. And so we're often under pressure from retailers to be able to move the products. And we have many ways, magical ways we do that, but it really comes down to the people. That's what I would say. In terms of how to access us, we are online as well. And so if you're not in Canada currently, you can go on our website at kulafoods.ca, and all of our offerings are there. Stay tuned for additional discounts. But right now, if you are joining and listening to the recording, we are offering free shipping on all orders. And on top of that, we're giving you an additional 15% off. I know that everyone's thinking Black Friday, but this is not just about that, but just, again, giving you the opportunity to try, but also thanking you for listening in. But yeah, we ship in Canada and US. And if you are ever to contact us on that website, it's going to be myself, my team. Mel is probably going to be the other person. Yeah, there are just a few of us, right? And with that, we get a lot done as well. So connect.
Love that.
Send us a message. Let us know.
So that's kulafoods.ca, not com, guys. So jot it down. That's Canada. So kulafoods.ca. Asha has extended this gracious gift of free shipping and the discount. That's in a 48-hour period. It's Tuesday, not Friday. We come before Friday. We're not dealing with that. Get your product now, try it out, you know, and make sure we support, as Asha is saying, these brands we love, because how often do you go in to get something and it's not on the shelf? It's usually not on the shelf because there wasn't enough demand. But me, I'm like, but I buy it all the time. And so, you know, as a consumer, and I know better, I still expect I want what I want. So if we want what we want, let's put, as Asha said, our dollars where our mouth is, and really support and be a part of Kula Foods community. and see it go, you know, all over the United States. I'm glad she picked California first, but I'm not going to blow that up too much. I'll get on live and show you what I'm eating so you guys can anticipate. You know how I do. If you're new to us, this is how I do. This is how Chef Sesavik does. We're going to have Asha back. Chef, would you just like to close us out and share some of your thoughts or takeaways before we let everyone go into their magic and their brilliance? We thank our audience. We know they could be anywhere. You've really hung out with us, and our people that watch the replay, we love you too. Take it away, Chef.
Absolutely. Again, Asha, thank you so much for this. My gosh, so many takeaways. I can't wait to watch this replay. And yeah, oh my goodness. So many gems, so many nuggets. And yeah, just one last question. Could you describe Kula Foods in 3 words? I'm curious.
Let's see, 3 words. Love. We talked about love. So love, connection, community.
Okay.
And eat. It means eat in Swahili. I added there. I want to add.
Go ahead.
So one of the things we offer is sliding scale within organizations that are serving Black and Indigenous communities. So as we are, you know, expanding our communities in the U.S., if you are an organization doing any of this work within those communities, please reach out. When it comes to food and events, we have some amazing options for you and like opportunities to work in. We have a project that we're looking to deploy next year, and I think food is an essential part of that. So holler at us for that.
We love that. Somebody in the chat is asking where it is in Sacramento. I've got my own personal stash, but it is not yet public. I'm sure Asha will share with us, and we'll keep tabs on when it hits California so we can make sure everybody in Sacramento, Los Angeles, and throughout California knows where to get it. And then I'm sure it's going to jump right to South Carolina because Chef is there, so I know he's going to put some pressure. Hello to everyone, Clover Valley Culinary and others that have said hello to me. Thank you for coming in. Chef, close us out. Asha, we're going to have you back. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your gracious offering. Remember, kulafoods.ca, fam. 48 hours. Get in on it. Let her cook. Let her cook.
Please. Thank you so much for having me. This has been incredible. It's been a great day. Thank you.
We couldn't wait. Chef, close us out.
All right, you guys. This is it. Planters, let's talk about it. I'm headed to go put in another order for some more, what was it? The ginger beef and some more of the sauces. So yeah, I got to run. Yeah, have a great day. Happy Taco Tuesday, and tune in with us next Tuesday.
Yes.
Same time.
Yes.
Much
Thank you,
love.
fam.
Peace.
Bye.